This is my strongest team. It is what gets me 9 stars in Spiral Abyss floor 12 practically every single time. And today we're going to take a look at it. So let's go ahead and take a look at my Melt Ganyu team. For those that watch my Spiral Abyss uploads, you don't need an introduction to this team. You've already seen it in action. This is a bit of a weird Melt team comp, as most will usually have 2 Pyro characters, but instead I run 2 Cryo characters. And is basically 1 character off from Morgana team. And well, you know what? That's because I don't have Mona, and I really want to do that Morgana team. But that is not the can of beans I want to open up today, so let's take a look at these characters more closely. First off, we have Ganyu, the main DPS of this team. As my main waifu, she's pretty well invested. With the way I play her on this team, investing in normal and her burst equally is the way to go. But if you'd have to choose, I would still prioritize her normal charged attack. With the playstyle of this team, Skyward Harp and Amos Bow are basically the same. The only difference is if you need more crit from a weapon or not. Xiangling as support DPS is my only source to initiate the Melt reaction. As a character that requires a high amount of energy for her burst and does not have another Pyro character to battery her, Favonius Weapon is a must to help her activate her burst in a reasonable time, even with energy recharge set equipped. Getting an ER Sans might work, but it's not something I have personally tried, but if you reach 200 or more energy recharge, it might work out just fine. I use Iona in a pretty standard healer shield playstyle. Her shield allows Ganyu to charge attack without worry and protects the team from breaking from the rotation. She is also your healer for when things get rough, but with the Noblesse set on her, you will be using her burst as part of your rotation for the team buff. Finally, Venti is there to be the CC god that he is, and the VV proc boosts the overall damage of the team. Swirling reactions is also another benefit. I don't worry too much which elemental burst procs as long as it's either Cryo or Pyro. This team is played similarly to the Morgana team, or at the least, that is how I play it. The big difference is that you are doing bigger numbers with Melt, but on the other hand, you do have to worry about taking hits as you will not be freezing enemies. That being said, with smaller mobs, Venti comes to the rescue. For the attack rotation, I usually try to start with a Ganyu burst and elemental skill. The order depends on the mob. I may opt to start with Diona's EQ to get the attack boost from the Noblesse and protect myself with a shield. I follow that up with a Venti EQ proc, Cryo Swirl, switch to Diona if I haven't already, or else go into Xiangling to start melting. I try to stay in long enough to absorb the particles from Favonius Lance before going into Ganyu to do some charged attacks. From that point on, I can do about 1 to 2 charge attacks and start a rotation to keep my shield up as well as gain burst back if need be, and do it all over again. When I reach the end of the mob cycle, I tend to just keep my shield up, send out Goba, and do melt charged attacks with the Ganyu, and save Pyronado and Venti's burst for the start of the next chamber. One of the big reasons my team is built with Cryo Resonance instead of double Pyro like a Bennett is mostly to free up Bennett for the second half, and because I want the shield, and don't want to replace Best Boy Venti with Geodaddy Longzhong. But if you don't mind, you can go right ahead and do so. Some other options for this team is Kazuha and Sucrose. Since this is a Melt team, Sucrose can do really well here, as she can give your whole team an EM boost, which will increase your Melt damage quite a bit. Just be wary that her crowd control is generally not as good as Venti or Kazuha. I should also point out that I have this team pretty well invested, particularly my Ganyu, so if you do end up trying this team and it isn't working that hot for you, it might just mean you need better artifacts. That being said, let me know what you think of this team by leaving a comment down below, and since I showcase this team quite often on my Spiral Abyss clears, except recently, here is only a floor 12 clear from patch 2.3. Enjoy, and until next time, adieu and goodbye. Peace.